Today we're looking at Diamine's Merlot. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, Diamine's Merlot is a magenta ink. To make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples, I put the ink into a different pen for a day, I then put it into a Retro 51 Tornado with a broad nib to take my notes for this video. Now before we get to the writing samples, let's look at the sciencey bits. Up first is the chromatography. And I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. And I put a line of ink down, immediately dunk it in the water for 10 to 15 seconds. And what we see is this really nice brown that pushes up into, this really nice blue, I don't know why I said brown, this really nice blue that pushes up. We see a brown that's the mixing of the red and blue, and then we see this very dark, rich red across the top. The one on the right I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it in the water. Now that blue line across the bottom is much more pronounced and there. And the brown that we saw on the first one is not nearly as dark. It pushed a little higher, I think. The red does not look so dark. It is certainly a red, more of a red than we got with the first chromatography. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it might be to clean from your pens. Now I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, it handles it basically very well. It turns from the extra fine to about a fine, maybe fine medium. It doesn't blow out and become unreadable and blurry all over. It makes you feel confident if you're a note taker and you use this ink. Water reactivates and lifts the reds, but not all of them, and a lot of the blues stay, which is the reason that we get that color left behind. That to me looks like it can be a problem color to have to deal with. Now Pen Flush did everything water did and a bit more. You see an area where the Pen Flush was lifting much more of the ink, but we do see some of those blues left behind in that weird C hand reaching in kind of shape. But this is only 30 seconds. I put it down and I immediately blot it up. It's not like I worked it at all. So there's a potential that Pen Flush is all that you need, because Diamine's not known for its permanence qualities in its regular inks. But if you did have to use bleach, with only 30 seconds, it obliterated the ink. It was gone in that whole circle, no discoloration, all of it's out of there. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Diamine's Merlot has a viscosity of 2.05, making it just a little bit wetter than a normal ink. To find my average dry times, I use my writing samples done on Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper with the extra fine and medium nib. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average dry time of 13 seconds, with a realm of... For the inks I've tested, I have found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. Diamine's Merlot has an average dry time of 17 seconds, making it not only normal, but average. Now, let's look at the writing samples. I picked this ink up in sample form. And to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's take a look at Clairfontaine. We get no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade at all. But the color's great right there. It is just great. With the extra fine, we get the same tone. No feather, spread, halo, sheen. I see no shading in the writing. It took 11 seconds to dry. The medium has the exact same tone. It has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. It took 16 seconds to dry. The extra fine, I'm having a weird sound feedback. And I'm going to wind up finding out in post that like the audio is ruined or something. I don't know. The scrubby for both shows no color variation. We didn't see it in the writing samples. We didn't get it. The smear test, you might be able to recover this. That's a very strong maybe if you smeared while you were writing. Tomoe River, no bleeding. Yes, we get ghosting. This is a beautiful, rich color on Tomoe River paper. Although it's not my favorite, I do acknowledge the fact that this does very well when it comes to, on this paper, this ink. There we go. My headphones now came back. I have been worried that I was even having audio. The 1.1 is no feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade, beautiful color. Extra fine, slightly lighter tone with no feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade, 18 seconds to dry. Back to the darker tone that we got with the 1.1. This is the tone I like with this ink. Beautiful. No feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade, 24 seconds to dry. I can deal with the fact that an ink doesn't have all of those properties when its color is absolutely beautiful. The scrubby for both showed us no color variation. We didn't expect it. We didn't get it. And surprisingly, this is a very strong maybe. Let's see, on, get it. On the recovery aspect. Can kind of see those lines underneath. So that's a very strong maybe to recover that if you smear it, which I don't frequently get with Tomoe River. Rhodia. Rhodia gives us no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1, I don't know, the color's off to me here. It's off. I don't know what it is that's off about it. It just looks off. It has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine, much lighter tone with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade, and 13 seconds to dry. The medium, a darker tone, not quite as dark as 1.1. It's just barely lighter because it looks nicer here with that slightly lighter tone. I do find that this looks great with very wet nibs. And maybe the 1.1 that it like squeegees a little bit as it goes is making it as a little less appealing to me. The medium has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade whatsoever, 17 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation, and we didn't get any. In the smear test, you could likely recover it. So, yellow Rhodia, no bleeding or ghosting, but what goes on with the color? And it's interesting, because the 1.1 and the medium definitely get darker. Much darker. The extra fine looks about the same. The 1.1, it's like a Merlot black right there. It has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine goes to that same tone that we got with the white paper with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade, 13 seconds to dry. The medium, we get the same thing that we got with the Rhodia paper, that it's just a little bit lighter than what we get here. We still get that kind of Merlot black kind of look about it. It looks like, you know, when they do the color and black sort of inks, that you've got that very dark aspect of it, and it's here. And it's very nice. This is very nice right here. I didn't, at first when I wrote it, I was like, eh. And then after I've waited a few months and I look back on it, I say that is a very, very beautiful color on the yellow paper. The medium has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 17 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation, and we didn't get any. In the smear test, you could definitely recover this if you smeared it. So Limone's been pretty good, so we're going to keep them going, see if they can keep going. And they broke the streak. We get tons of bleeding, although it did not bleed all the way through. It did not touch the page underneath. You could not use the back of the page comfortably. I don't think almost anybody could, unless whatever you're writing you just don't care about and you need to just scribble a note. The 1.1, it feathered like crazy on this paper. It's disgusting feathers. It really, truly is horrible. It's feathering. Ugh. Yeah, just looking around. Ugh. Ugh. If you're going to break the streak, really throw it in a toilet, Limon. I don't know. So the 1.1 has tons of feathering. It does have spread. It has no halo, no sheen, no shade. I'm not even going to bother talking about the tone of the ink here as far as whether I like it or not. It is slightly lighter on the extra fine. The extra fine has it has feathering all over it. It's tiny little feathering, but it is all over it. It has no spread, no halo, sheen, or shade. It only took 6 seconds to dry. The medium goes back to the same tone that we got with the 1.1. We get feathering all over the writing. Tiny little feathering all over the writing, but it's all over there. Just look at the. See if we can get the. Come on, camera. Like, it's tiny all over. It's just that it's all over there. No halo, sheen, no shade. It does have spread. I wouldn't use this ink on this paper. Avoid it. 9 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation, and we didn't get any. In a smear test, you could definitely recover the disgusting mess that is that ink on Limon paper. Black and red notebook. No bleeding, no ghosting. Black and red has really been a standout performer to me. The 1.1. It's great color here. No feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. The color really looks gorgeous. It's not obnoxious. Very nice. Extra fine, noticeably lighter tone with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade, 8 seconds to dry. The medium in tone goes back to what we saw with the 1.1. It's the only time we saw it match up like that. The medium has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade, 11 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation. We didn't expect it, we didn't get it, and the smear test, you could definitely recover this if you smeared while you were writing, and that is all that I have for the writing sample. Instead of finding inks that look like Diamine's Merlot, I would prefer to find a color that complements its color on the page. Now this magenta of the Merlot is a very dark ink, so I wanted something much lighter to help stand out against it, not just with its color. I chose Private Reserve's Blue Suede because it is a great blue teal color, and it's the blue that's going to help bring them together and complement each other very well. Before I give my opinion on this ink, I would ask, if you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. And if it's your first time here, I would invite you to subscribe. So what do I think of Diamine's Merlot? As a color, this is a true Merlot. It's like you're looking at the wine in your pen. It's really very nice. And it really comes through on the page just like that in a broader, wetter pen. However, in finer or drier pens, I found its color to be a little lackluster. So if you prefer very fine, it might not do as well unless it's a wet fine. And I don't know how well it's going to do in a broad, dry pen. So make sure it's a wet pen so you can truly get to enjoy this color. Thanks for watching.